So this is only for people who are honest with themselves. Okay, otherwise skip this. Okay, so you want leadership to see your value, right? Especially in today's job market, it's not as stable as it used to be. We all know the mass layoffs are happening across different industries, and you want leadership to see your value. I mean, and it's not a bad thing. It's not about kissing ass all day and, bringing tea and here's a printout and, oh, I put everything in a nice folder for you, which happens, but that's not what this is about. But this is you doing your job and you want to be acknowledged, right? So it's normal for you to want that. So you want to win. Put your name on it. I mean, when I was at Nike, there was this famous saying, like, what do you want to be known for? And I was like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you want to be known for? You're going to work on like 12 projects a year, but every single meeting you're going to go to is like, hey, have you seen, the new LeBron James, you know, the new campaign? Have you seen that? The new like King James, and then like the interaction or whatever you've done, whether it's like a new brand release or a new shoe release or the wins. That's what you want to be known for. So they're like, oh, yeah, that's LeBron James guy. Like, he's the guy that did the LeBron James tour. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Because there's like 3,000 people walking around on campus. And it's not like everyone has like this banner on its head, like email marketing person. Or so you want to be known for something. Okay, long sidetrack, but you get the point, right? And it's normal. So you think like, how can I get a win, right? And then you bring in an agency. And I've been on both sides of the table, worked for an agency in Dubai, um, and also obviously worked for brands on the brand side, from Nike to Jordan, Phillips. And then, you can survive without agency, whether it's an Ogilvy or it's an Adelman and Dabo or Frank PR. Agencies have their place, but there's a downside to it as well that I want to get into. So you hired them, because you're bored. You need to have an AI strategy. Like, what's the AI strategy here? Damn it, what is the AI strategy? Well, we're gonna train our team. So and so on the team is really good, but we're gonna bring in, that agency because so and so can do it also. We're gonna bring in that agency, and they're gonna revolutionize how we work. They're gonna revolutionize the entire company, and that can actually work. Actually they can. They build all kinds of stuff. They build workflows, agents, everyone saves time. And they actually do the work. That's why you hired them. And a year later, it's their case study. And you go to their website, you want to check out some stuff. And your company is out there with your quote, with your recommendation and your, let's say your review, or like your testimonial. And then it's fair. This is fair game. It's not like they're doing something illegal. But whose win is it? Inside the company. And now try changing suppliers because there's another supplier that does the same. And if you work for a big company, then procurement obviously wants to have certain rates, and they're going to say, look, we're going to let these two companies compete because I'm sure we can get a better rate. They want to work with us, so they need to give us a better offering, right? So you have a meeting with procurement, for example, but you can't really change, right? Because they have the login details, they have the email addresses that are connected to the workflows that are built. If you're unlucky, let's say they're built in N8N or they're built in Make. If they're built in cloud, it's a little bit easier. But imagine if it's in Make and that person leaves and all of a sudden an automation stops. You don't want that. So you stay. Maybe they even have your assets. Maybe they even have the login details and they're running your ads. Maybe they're even running your email marketing. Maybe they even have your sales pipeline. So, having that conversation with your board that you can't change, although you want, it's not a nice conversation to have. Or you train your own team, right? Your vision as a CMO or your vision as the head of sales or your vision as the CEO, let's say you have a company, like small, medium-sized business, it's your vision and your team will follow that vision, but then you have the in-house capability because your team is elevated, right? Your team is, let's say, AI capable. Your team is AI productive. They understand how to build agents. They understand how to create projects and let it run and just keep going nonstop and free up their time. And leadership is fully aware what the added value is. That's a very different way. It's the same team. It's more output. Obviously, when people are invested in, they see, okay, I'm valuable. Like if you're going to invest, let's say there's someone on your team who has doubts whether this person is allowed to stay or not, contracts being extended or not, and this person is part of the training. That is a confidence booster because this person is like, okay, they're investing in me. At least I'm probably going to sit on my full contract, or at least I might get a permanent role, right? So at the end of the day, it's not just about output. It's also about how the team feels. So being the person to be remembered for bringing in an agency that is doing the job, that basically they have the keys to your vault, or you can be known as the leader who actually made their team better, right? And I think that's an important decision, an important way and mindset to have when you're thinking about training your team. Who do you want to be? And I've been on both sides. And having a trained team is very different than outsourcing. Outsourcing has its benefits, but when you do want to change and you feel you don't even have the capability to leave from a vendor, that's obviously an issue. So hopefully this has been valuable. If you want to think about making a decision to train teams in AI at Torque, that's also what we do for small, medium-sized businesses. You can check it out or check out other companies. There are other companies out there doing a great job as well. To me, it's just important that you make the right decision and you're known and you get that win on your, on your kind of like resume versus, oh, he hired someone really well. They did well. You weren't really part of that conversation. Thanks for staying with me. My name is Rich Loen. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.